Good evening once again. Welcome to the SFS webinar for this evening. We will start right at 5:30. We want to encourage anyone who has questions to ask them in the Q&A feature at the bottom of the Zoom window. We will be posting helpful links throughout the session in the chat, but the chat will not be open for questions. So please ask any questions through the Q&A feature. And again, we'll start here in about 3 minutes. So hope everybody's staying cool this evening and welcome. We'll be starting shortly. One last pre-webinar announcement. We will be starting in just a couple of minutes. Welcome aboard, everyone. If you have any questions tonight, please ask them in the Q&A feature. The chat feature will be used for helpful links throughout the presentation, and we will be getting started here in just about 1 minute. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this nice and warm Wednesday evening. My name is Mark Adams. I'm the manager for student accounts within the Student Financial Solutions Office. With me tonight is part of my team who will be doing the presentation on our deeper dive in our series of webinars for incoming freshmen, incoming transfer students, and the parents that are with them to help them along, to help them understand our billing system a little better. So with that, I turn it over to my team and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Student Financial Solutions, a deeper dive. Since we're approaching the new school year, we wanted to show you in more detail how the billing process will work on your end. And we will also be sharing the slide deck and the video recording through the resource page on our website afterwards. So the slide deck will be available tomorrow and the recording will be available within a week. My name is Tina, and I'm a student accounts advisor. This is my lovely colleague.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Pinaranda. I'm also a student accounts advisor, and I'm happy to join you this evening.
So today we will be discussing the following topics. So first, we'll be going over how you can navigate TritonPay, which is where you can manage all your billing activity. Then we're going to go over reading and understanding your billing statements, your payment options and plans, then managing financial aid and scholarships, handling overpayments and refunds, common TritonPay issues and troubleshooting, and best practices for managing your account, and some resources and support. So if you have any questions regarding any of today's topics, please ask them in the Q&A feature once we have covered the topic. we're going to answer a lot of your questions when we go to these agenda items. And we will also post the links we mentioned in the chat for more information. All right, so how do we navigate TritonPay? First of all, TritonPay is the portal students and authorized payers use for all matters billing, so you can view your account balance, see your account activity details for the current term, make payments, and view the online transactions that you make through TritonPay, and much more. So how do you access your account online? So students and authorized payers can access the student's account at tritonpay.ucsc.edu. Students use their single sign-on, and once they enroll a parent as an authorized payer, the authorized payer will have their own login credentials. Please note, Student Financial Solutions can't give details of a student account to individuals who have not been enrolled as an authorized payer by the student. So we highly recommend parents discuss authorization with their students. All right, so once you log in to TritonPay, you can see your account balance and other high-level information about your account on the Overview tab. For a line-by-line breakdown of your transactions for the current term, you can refer to the Activity Details tab. After an online payment, you can also view your receipt on the Transactions page. So now we're going to show some visuals of TritonPay and where you can see these tabs. All right, so this page shows the Overview tab, and as you can see on the top right-hand corner, you can see the account balance. That's the most up-to-date account balance that you have. You can also view balances on your statements, but they're only up-to-date at the date that it was posted. So this is the balance you see here is a live version of your total balance, and you can see a summary of your account on here and any payment plans that you have. All right, so the next one would be your activity details. As you can see, it is a line-by-line breakdown of charges and payments of your current term.
All right, next we're going to, oh, sorry, go back.
Sorry, just to mention one more thing, you'll also see any pending aid on the activity details tab, and we'll be covering pending aid a little later on with financial aid information. Sorry, Alyssa, you go ahead.
No, you're good. All right, next we're going to talk about reading and understanding billing statements. A common question we get is, what does my billing statement look like? What information does it have? So billing statements are provided monthly to students with any financial activity on the account, which can include charges, payments, refunds, and more. In general, the student's billing statement will include an overview of the student's past due balance, current account balance, and total account balance. Billing statements are static documents, so any additional account activity after the statement date will be included in next month's statement. The statement dates can be found on our website if you wanted to know more. This is going to be an example of our billing statement. This is a formal document that our office sends out and notifies everyone. It will include your statement date, the due date for the statement, and your student ID. So this billing statement is just going to be a snapshot from the statement date to the due date, and it will just have your charges and credits. How do I know if I have a balance? Well, if you receive an e-bill notice from our office regarding a new billing statement, that means that you should check our TritonPay account or your TritonPay account for any recent account activity. If you check your TritonPay account and do not see any account balance to pay, please check your monthly billing statement to see what recent statement activity was for. An example of this will be receiving a billing statement in October that shows the payment that you made for your September balance. Since the payments were made after the September statement date, they won't appear on the statement until the next statement release date. So what are some important deadlines that I need to know for my billing? Well, for this fall quarter, these are some key billing statements and deadlines to be aware of. As of today, you should have been notified or received your September billing statement. For the deadline for the UC SHIP health insurance fee waiver, that will be September 14th. So if you already have health insurance and you want to waive this insurance fee, please submit this waiver application before this deadline. As for financial aid disbursement, it will be on September 16th and on September 24th. We do have that September billing due date. In addition, we do have that deadline for the TRIP early enrollment. This TRIP enrollment is a monthly installment plan with our office, and we'll get more detailed into that later in this presentation. And then on September 25th, the deadline to withdraw from classes with 100% payment refund will be at that date. And on September 29th, the deadline for late registration fee payment will be then. Make sure you make all your payments for the fall charges for tuition and registration before this date to avoid being dropped from classes. Another tip is that due dates do not fall on the same day for each term, so please review your TritonPay monthly to stay on top of your finances.
All right, I'm gonna go over some payment options and plans. So we have several payment options. The first is the electronic or e-check, which uses your account and routing number for payments. There is a $25 fee for return e-check payments, so please make sure that there are enough funds in your bank account when you make the payment and that you don't input your debit card number by accident. You may check with your bank to confirm your saving and checking account information before payment. We recommend this payment option as it only has a 50-cent service fee. You also have the option of paying with a credit card, debit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, but those have a 2.75% service fee, so it's a little more expensive. If you're paying with a 5 to 9 savings plan, it has a $10 flat fee, but just please note that not all 529 agencies allow payments through TritonPay, so please consult with your agency on electronic payment options. If you cannot send it electronically, you can mail payments via check to the TritonPay office, and the address will be posted in the chat. International payments through Convera, Flywire, and TransferMate. Their service fees vary depending on the vendor. We also accept in-person and mail checks to the TritonPay office. And at the TritonPay office, we only accept cash and check payments. The university does not accept direct bank wire transfers initiated outside of TritonPay. All right, so this slide is for those of you who are sponsored by a third party. Third party sponsorship is outside agencies, private or public, that agree to cover some or all of your bill. We receive sponsorships, for instance, from the VA and the military, institutional sponsorships, and international government agencies. Our office facilitates billing and payments for third parties, so you can reach out to us for questions. If you are sponsored by third party, you will need to submit two things: a financial guarantee form for every academic term and year, and also complete and sign our billing authorization form, which you will receive after you submit a valid financial guarantee form. Please note that September 24th is the deadline to submit a valid financial guarantee. All right, so I'm going to dive into our payment plan called TRIP that Alyssa mentioned before. If you're looking for a payment plan, our office offers TRIP. It only applies to tuition and registration fees, and it allows you to pay for a quarter in 3 monthly installments. So each installment is due by its monthly billing due date. You need to enroll separately for each quarter, and each quarter it has its own enrollment fee. The early enrollment fee is $40, and it's due by, so you get that early enrollment fee if you enroll in TRIP by the first billing due date of the quarter. For this quarter, it will be September 24th. The standard enrollment fee is $65, and we accept that through October 24th. All right, so are there any payment options for housing? So students living on campus, they automatically are enrolled in the quarterly installment plan. So first they pay a one-time $30 admin fee, and then they make a total of 3 installments, so one per quarter, for housing and dining related fees. You have the option to change your contract to monthly or paying in full. For monthly installments, it breaks down your housing and dining charges into 9 installments. This also includes the one-time $30 admin fee, and it will be due by each monthly due date. If you select pay in full, it would require payment upfront for the entire year, and that would be due September 24th. To change the default quarterly plan, you will need to submit a change request via the housing portal, and that will be available on September 5. A housing cost and payment schedule, which outlines when you will be billed and how much you will be billed and when these charges are due, can be found at the link that's going to be posted in the chat. So please note that parents and authorized payers are unable to change a housing contract that a student has. Only a student can change that. All right, so here's some other housing information. So if you want to, you have the option to do auto pay for housing. So it will help you cover costs like housing charges, lost keys, lock changes, cleaning fees, anything housing and dining related. And payments are automatically withdrawn from your bank account or credit card on the 15th of each month. This date is fixed and cannot be changed. You can set up autopay for 10 months and cancel at any time. Residents can sign up on TritonPay under autopay by selecting undergrad housing autopay. If you have any housing questions, you can either contact housing administrative services at their phone number 858-534-4010, or you can contact them through a support ticket on the Student Services and Support portal. All right, so you have also the option to make partial payments when paying online. You can pay the entire balance or pay part of the balance, like your past due, your current due, etc. And you can also select from specific fee categories like your tuition fees or housing fees. If you want to make partial payments online, you can also just edit the payment amount when you're making the transaction online. You can also make partial payments in person at TritonPay or mail partial payments to TritonPay. Okay, so I'm going to go over some consequences for not paying. If you miss a payment deadline, you risk receiving a financial hold from our office for past due balances and being dropped from your courses. So course cancellation happens once per quarter after the billing due date for students who have not paid their mandatory tuition and registration fees before the drop date. And this quarter would be September 29th. However, our office does not charge student late fees. Housing has its own holds for not paying in time, and those holds would need to be resolved with housing directly.
Okay, now we're going to talk about managing financial aid and scholarships. So how do I know if I've been awarded financial aid and when will it be dispersed? Once tuition fees have been added to your account, and if you have been awarded financial aid, you will be able to see the pending aid in your TritonPay account. If you were charged tuition fees but do not see any pending aid yet in your TritonPay account, you should first log into your Triton Link student portal, then navigate to the financial aid section and confirm your award statuses. If you have recently accepted or confirmed your awards, it could be a timing matter. However, if it's been over a week since your award acceptance or confirmation, please contact the financial aid office. These are going to be some dates regarding the disbursement of the financial aid. So for this fall quarter, it's going to be September 16th. For winter, it's going to be December 27th. And for spring, it's going to be March 21st. If your financial aid does cover all your charges and you do have a excess amount, you are eligible for a refund, and students can expect that refund. For the fall quarter, it's going to be September 22nd. For the winter, it's January 5th. And for the spring quarter, it's going to be March 30th. When it comes to Parent Plus refunds, this will be specifically mailed to the parent's address that's on the FAFSA application. It is going to be a physical check, and it will be processed or received after September 22nd. So what about outside agency scholarships? Our office do process external scholarship checks and award letters, and this enables the financial aid office to include them in your packages and to disperse those funds. So you can send these mailed scholarships to our TritonPay office at our address right here. Please ensure that these mailed payments does include your full name, your PID, and that they are made payable to UC Regents. Another question we do receive is, how does financial aid affect my billing and payments? As mentioned, any accepted and confirmed financial aid awards should show as pending in your TritonPay. Depending on the amount of your pending award, you will either have an adjusted balance, and that will be due on September 24th. If you have a balance of 0, that means your aid has covered your entire balance. Or if you have that credit balance, which shows a negative amount, that means that you are eligible for a refund. If you do have a credit balance because of that overpayment of financial aid, again, you are expected to receive that refund later, around September 22nd. So just to kind of show you how it's going to look like in TritonPay, this is the overview page when you first log in. You should see current charges, your pending aid, and then the anticipated refund after your pending awards. So just make sure you're looking for that additional information and that anticipated refund. And then you see that negative balance, then you are eligible for a refund. When it comes to looking at it in your activity details, here again, you'll see your current term charges and payments. Here you're able to also see your pending awards and specifically what type of awards you're receiving. And then just like I mentioned earlier, that adjusted balance, that's going to be how much your account will be after the pending award has dispersed to your account. And as you can tell, it does have that negative balance. Another thing that's great about TritonPay is that if you look at the printer feature, you can actually print any of these pages out just in case if you like a tangible piece of copy. So what happens if my aid doesn't cover my full balance? Well, if it doesn't cover your full balance, you will have that adjusted balance reflect on your TritonPay, and you will need to pay for that amount by the due date. The remaining balance will be covered by your pending aid once it is dispersed. So if you do have that adjusted balance, that is for tuition and registration fees, and you're not able to pay that balance by the due date, please do consider enrolling into our payment plan.
All right, since we mentioned refunds, let's go over how we can handle overpayments and refunds. Right. So if you decide to withdraw, how can you get a refund? The deadline to withdraw from classes with 100% payment refund is September 25th, which is the first day of classes. If you have previously paid for your registration and tuition fees yourself, you'll be eligible for the refund of your payment. The registration webpage hosts the percentage of refund available for withdrawing from these classes. This amount reduces significantly after September 25th. To withdraw from the quarter or apply for part-time status, you'll first need to get registrar approval and academic approval to reduce your units to part-time status level. So we get a lot of requests that say, I want to withdraw and receive my refund, but we don't process the withdrawal. The reversals of your payments and charges need to happen through the registrar's office first. And then once you see the reversals and credit on your account, then you can reach out to us to request a refund. The final withdrawal date will be the second week of classes, and at that point, it would only be a 25% refund. And that's why we offer the GradGuard tuition insurance. It's available for students who want extra protection for tuition and fees if they need to withdraw for a covered reason. For more information, please refer to the link we're going to post in the chat. The enrollment deadline for that is September 21st. All right, so what is an overpayment? An overpayment is when there's payment on your account that exceeds charges, and that will display a negative charge or a negative amount on your account, and that is considered credit. This usually happens when there is excess financial aid or charges were just adjusted on your account after a full payment. You're not allowed to intentionally make overpayments. If you have a negative balance on your account, you may be eligible for a refund, and you can send a refund request through our website. We're going to show that later on in the presentation. All right, so you can receive your refunds through either direct deposit or through a physical check in the mail. We highly encourage enrolling in direct deposit because it's a much faster and more efficient process. Once a refund is processed, direct deposit takes only 3 to 5 business days to reach your account, while a physical check would take 7 to 10 business days to deliver. Additionally, if the mailing address is entered incorrectly, you will need to submit a reissue request. So it's just more trouble sometimes. And we're going to post a link to instructions on setting up direct deposit.
All right, next we're going to go over some common TritonPay issues and troubleshooting. So what happens if you can't log into TritonPay? If you are an incoming student, you will need to first set up your UCSD student account first prior to logging into TritonPay. You will be using your single login. That is going to be your Triton Link username and password. If you forget your password, you can use the reset password option. If you forget your username, you can go ahead and click on first time user feature and you'll get further help that way. If you are a parent or guardian, you will first need to have your student authorize you as a payer through their TritonPay account. Once you're authorized, you will have your very own username and password to use. Your username will be the same address that the student has sent the invitation to, so make sure you're using the correct email address. And if your username is correct and you may be just inputting your password wrong, you can go ahead and use that forget password feature too. Another question we get a lot is, why can't I see my account balance? So during our peak periods, which is like today, because our billing statement just came out, you will see longer than usual loading times when accessing TritonPay. So as a result, this could cause your current account balance not to load, and you may receive the error message, a current balance is not available. As this is largely impacted by the TritonPay site traffic, a common fix is simply logging out of TritonPay and reattempt your login later in the day. You can go ahead and log in anytime outside of the time of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. PST just for schedule maintenance. In addition, some other troubleshooting steps that you can take is clearing your saved browser data or opening a private window browser after logging out. And this may help you attempt to log back into TritonPay. Another question we get is, why is my payment not reflected on my account? If you paid online and you don't see your payment applied yet, go ahead and check your transactions page for recent activity to see if it went through. If it's pending, please allow 5 to 7 business days for processing. If you paid in person, it could just be a timing thing. So if it was before 3 p.m., you should see it applied to your account the same day. If you came in person after 3 p.m., it will be processed the next business day. And if you have mailed your payment and you don't see anything on your account, please verify that you use the correct mailing address and also confirm the delivery date. Also, because you mailed your payment, please allow 2 weeks of processing to ensure that these checks do reach our office, and make sure those checks do include your student's name and your PID number.
All right, to summarize some of the points we've gone over, I'm going to share some best practices that we recommend. So we get phone calls from parents sometimes that request information about their student's account and transactions. And our policy is that we can't share any information about student transactions unless the student has enrolled them as an authorized payer. So if your parent is making payments and would like to see your transaction activity, we suggest discussing with your parent the option of enrolling them as an authorized parent. For refunds, as I mentioned, we highly encourage you to enroll in direct deposit because it's just much more efficient and smooth for transfer of funds. Also, if you're eligible, you should submit your UC ship waiver by the due date. So if you have, you already have your own health insurance and want to just waive that UCSD insurance, or sorry, UC ship. And we also encourage you to check your TritonPay on a monthly basis, just so that you stay on track with your payments and know what's going on your accounts.
All right, and last but not least, we do have some resources and support for you. We will be continuing to send those links in the chat, so go ahead and look for that. But of course, the number one resource will be our website at sfs.ucsd.edu. Here is your first stop where if you have any questions, we may have already answered it on our website. So feel free to look through it, see what information we have on there, because we just have so much videos and information. Another way that you can look for answers is checking our knowledge-based articles. This is on our support.ucsd.edu link. And here it's just like a regular search engine. You can go ahead and type in what type of question you may have, and then we might have an article for you. And for additional help, just in case if your question is more complex or specific to your case, you can go ahead and submit a ticket with us using our services and support portal. And you can click that by using the Get Help feature right there. For students, this is what that portal will bring you to underneath Get Help. You can go ahead and submit a student support ticket. You can also request a student refund request form, and you can also see the form for the third-party financial guarantee. And then for other resources for our office, you can call us at our number, which is going to be 858-946-4160. You can also visit us in person at the TritonPay office. We are located on the first floor of the Student Services Center, Suite 170. And for September, we are open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Our regular hours afterwards will be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For additional content, you can follow our Instagram at UCSDSFS. We just posted a new video today, so you can go ahead and check that out. Or you can also follow us using our quarterly billing newsletter. And for contacting other departments for the financial aid office, you can call them at 858-534-4480. You can also visit them at the Student Services Center, so the same building, just on the third floor, or you can submit that Student Services and Support Portal ticket. And then for financial aid, please double check their website, their contact page, just because their hours do change regarding their phone lines and in-person and the resume link. So make sure you double check their website for their contact information. As for housing, dining, and hospitality, their phone number is going to be 858-534-4010. Their in-person office is going to be at the Housing, Dining, Hospitality Administration building in Revelle College. This is going to be next to 64 Degrees. And of course, you can open up a ticket with them through the Student Services and Support portal. All right, and now we're going to live Q&As.
Well, that does end the presentation portion of our webinar, but we will have live Q&As for the next 30 minutes or so. Continue to ask your questions in the Q&A feature, and we will answer them live as we go. Okay, so I will start. Let's see what we've got here for at the top. I can answer a general one that's we've seen a lot of, and that's about the health insurance UC SHIP waiver. Waivers, once you apply for the waiver, you will get the acceptance letter from a third party that does the actual authorization of your and approval of your health insurance, your personal health insurance. That once you get that letter, it's typically about 10 days before the waiver will post to your student account. So in that 10-day time frame, it can be a little longer depending on the volume that the health insurance office is getting. But that 10 days is generally the anticipated window that we suggest you wait before you ask about your waiver, your missing waiver. Waivers will apply towards the fee itself. The charge itself does not get removed. All it does is the waiver pays the charge for you. So you'll still see the charge, and you'll see the waiver coming in and paying the charge. If you get close to cancellation, you've reached out to health insurance. Health insurance does have a presence on the support portal, which is support.ucsd.edu/students. They can answer your questions. If you are close to cancellation, my recommendation is to pay it yourself out of pocket. And once the waiver does come through, it will refund back to you. If you guys can read ahead and jump in, I'll keep going and looking for new ones too.
Yeah, I can answer the questions regarding outside scholarship checks.
Sure, fire away.
Yeah, someone in the chat asked if they can credit their scholarship online if you have a check. So the answer to that is no. We do need to receive the check first. So if you want to mail it to our office, I'll go ahead and input our mailing address there. Or if you want to drop it off in person, I'll go ahead and let you know where our physical location is. We do need to receive the check before it is dispersed onto your student account.
Alyssa, can you show them where they can find a copy of the webinar if you go to the SFS website?
Yes, let me go ahead and pull that up.
There's a question about back with health insurance again while she's pulling that up, and that's how do we know if our health waiver got approved? You will get a letter from unfortunately I don't know what the service is this year, American Health Insurance, I think, that states that you have been approved. If you don't see a letter or you're not sure if you've gotten a letter, please reach out through the student portal to the health insurance office and ask them to verify your approval, and they'll be able to do that for you. Can the difference in financial aid I didn't read that question correctly. Can the difference after financial aid for housing be paid monthly? For housing, housing defaults to quarterly this year. There is an option to actually, Sylvia, are you still here? Oh, it's Kimber. That's who it was. Do you want to answer that, Kimber?
Sure. So housing charges by default are posted in the quarterly amount, but students can access their housing portal and request a monthly installment to reflect in their housing portal.
Thank you. The service fee for e-check and for credit card. The service fee for e-check is only 50 cents. That's essentially the same as a postage if you were going to mail a actual check in. The service fee for credit card is currently 2.75, 2.75%. And that's not collected by the university itself. So we don't have control on that one. If we highly recommend e-check over credit cards, but we understand that there's a lot of people who enjoy using the credit card or will need to use their credit cards. But there is that service fee involved with it. Tuition payments are automatically by default quarterly. You get charged for the full quarter. That's what the installment plan does. If you can't manage or you need extra help in paying for on a monthly basis instead of the quarterly basis, we do offer the installment plan, which will break your registration fees, your tuition fees into 3 equal installments. So you can pay it throughout the quarter instead of upfront at once. There's a $40 early enrollment fee for that. And the standard enrollment, which is after the due date, if you enroll in it, is $65. And that is, you have to apply every quarter. It's only good for the quarter that you apply for. You have to reapply for it again in any subsequent quarter that you may want to use the installment plan. UShip is billed quarterly. If you waive it, if you apply for the waiver and accept the waiver, you get it for the whole year. So it will waive for the entire year, but you will get billed for it every quarter. I've seen several middle class scholarship questions come through. I can answer that. Bronwyn can jump in if I misstate. But middle class scholarships typically come in a little later in the quarter. They usually come in end of October is about when they start to arrive. They will apply to your account. If you have any fees still on your account, they'll cover those. Otherwise, it will generate a refund for you at that point.
Hi, Mark. That's exactly it from the financial aid side. Generally, what happens is we wait until there's many things that can impact your MCS. It could be housing changes, enrollment status changes, going to part-time. Outside scholarships can also impact the amount of your middle class scholarship. So rather than giving you funds up now and potentially billing you in the future, generally it's during the fall quarter where we wait once those changes are made to confirm eligibility. And at that time, we'll send an email to your UC San Diego email address to check your financial aid portal on Triton Link.
Thank you. I have seen several questions about the mandatory registration fees, the variety of them that do appear on your account. They are all mandatory. The only one that is typically waivable is the health insurance one, and that requires the health insurance, your own personal health insurance to do that. Things like REMAC and mental health and university center fee, those are all part of our registration package, and they are mandatory for every student. Can I appeal the health insurance waiver rejection? That's kind of outside of our influence to be able to respond to. However, if you reach out to the health insurance office through the support portal, support.ucst.edu/students, and select the health services in there, they will be able to give you a reason why it was rejected or help you understand the rejection process. In my experience, I have not seen appeals for waiver rejection. They usually are rejected for a specific reason that disqualifies them. But I don't have the full details, so they would be able to help you with that. Okay, I received my e-bill notice today. How exactly do I pay? Well, we have that's what this whole webinar was for. We have our TritonPay support portal, which is our payment site. It's tritonpay.ucsd.edu. There are several different ways to get there. You can get there through our website at sfs.ucsd.edu. You can get through it through Triton Link at ucsd.edu. But TritonPay is our portal. Once you've logged into to TritonPay, you will see your summary page is the default landing page that will have the amount that you owe and will give you all the different kinds of payment options by selecting payment that you have available to you. Is there a way to get eShip waiver after the due date on the 20th? There is a late, actually, I think the 20th is the final date. It was due on the 15th, and then it's got a late enrollment until the 20th. After the 20th, you cannot get it for fall quarter, but you can still be eligible for winter and spring quarter. You just will have missed the deadline for the fall. Let's see. To count as everything has been paid on TritonPay, does it have to say completed or is pending also okay? I'm assuming that you mean the payment status itself. If you're paying by a wire payment or a Flywire, a 529 plan, it might be in pending status. It typically takes 3 to 5 business days for it to clear all the way through. As far as TritonPay will generate it as paid as soon as it's available. But you should be fine as long as you're doing it before the due date. You shouldn't have any issues with that delay. Why do we pay the student transportation fee? Again, that's one of those mandatory charges that the university charges all students. It's a service support. There's a bus system that goes around, there's a shuttle system that goes around that's available to all students, and it is part of what the infrastructure support that we pay. It is, even if you don't want to use the shuttle, it is there available for you to use in case you do need it. This one is he just wanted to confirm that he doesn't see any tuition due on his summary page, but that's because he has financial aid. Financial aid is in pending status, but that is covering the tuition fees. So it is just the remaining. It didn't say if he has a remaining balance or not, but if he has a remaining balance, that's what you'll need to pay. Otherwise, there'll be a credit balance there, which will be a little negative number. That'll be what the refund is that will generate for you on the 25th. I'm an international student. Do I need a US bank account when registering for e-check accounts? If you want to use e-check accounts, you do need to have a US bank account. If you want to pay internationally, you would have to use one of the international wire services like Flywire or Convera, or direct payment through TransferMate. It's all available through the TritonPay website. But if you do want to pay by e-check, you will need to set up and establish a US banking account. There are several banks located on or near campus, and they will all be more than happy to help you. That's their primary population is our student population. as long as we apply for a ship waiver by the 14th, it's considered on time. That's correct. It isn't, you are not going to get charged the late enrollment fee for that. However, applying for it on the 14th does not mean approved on the 14th. That would mean that it still has to go through your approval process, which means you're probably going to have to pay it out of pocket and get reimbursed for the charge, because it probably will not arrive in time, authorize and arrive in time to cover your fee before the cancellation date. And it is part of the cancellation. So we want to make sure that you cover your bases. And if you have questions, by all means, reach out to our office through the support portal, and we'll be more than happy to support that question and give you whatever options we can come up with for you and help you with that. For both tuition and housing, until when can I change the quarterly and monthly? I can answer the tuition part of that. The tuition part of that, you need to change, you need to apply for the installment plan before the cancellation date, which is the 29th of September. If you have not applied for it and made the first payment by the 29th, you will get canceled from your classes. I'm not sure the deadline to change for housing, but maybe Kimber could answer that when she gets a moment.
Sure. The deadline for the housing installments, those can be requested to be changed at any time through the housing portal.
I think the question was, what about if they haven't made a payment yet? What's the concern if they don't make the payment? How late do they have before they can change to a quarterly, I mean, a monthly plan, even if they haven't made any kind of payment towards housing at all? Still,
yes. Yeah, we review those requests every day. So if they submit a request after the payment deadline, we'll adjust their account and move forward accordingly with the installment that they're requesting.
All right, we've got about 10 more minutes. We've still got a few questions in here. There's some repeats that are still in here. I'm just looking for unique questions that we haven't really answered yet. What's the difference between full year and quarterly? A full year payment is also due September 24th. That would only apply to housing. Housing is the only one that had that option available to them. You cannot pay tuition for the full year. You can only pay tuition quarterly. We do not charge, we only charge one quarter at a time. And you actually can't move on to the next quarter until the current quarter is completed. Will you have the same amount due every quarter? In theory, yes. It should vary very little, depending on the quarter. The fall quarter can have things like orientation fees, a one-time document fee that are one-time payments, that you will not get charged again in future quarters. But it's in the couple of $100s at the most. The rest of it will stay fairly stagnant and consistent throughout the quarter, from quarter to quarter, in any given academic year. That's a good question. Does the 100% payment refund include housing as well? No, it does not. If you withdraw from classes, housing might if you lived in the dorm. I'm not actually, Sylvia, I'm not, Kimber, I'm not really sure what if they leave before the first day of classes, you still charge them for like a retroactive housing charge for a couple of if they've spent a week in the housing?
Yes. So if a student checks in, there's a minimum amount of time that they would be billed if they decide to cancel their contract. It would be a minimum of 2 weeks. Otherwise, it would be prorated to the date that they check out of their space. They can request to terminate their contract through the housing portal.
How can Triton Cash be recharged? That's really through the Triton Cash office, but there's through the Triton Cash website. You can add money to your Triton Cash account, kind of like just any kind of a reusable debit card. It's essentially a very similar feature. My health insurance doctors are based in LA. Can I use it on campus, San Diego? That's part of the vetting process of the ship waiver. If you're on just UCSD health insurance, you will need to use the UCSD health insurance doctors. If you have the waiver process, you I would recommend speaking with the health insurance office to find out what's available to you for as far as care is concerned. They will still offer you care through the university for sure. Here's an interesting question. It's um, if I feel I'll be good with 3 classes this semester, should I drop one of the 4 to make so we can get 100% refund on the 1 class? Doesn't really work that way for the main quarters, the fall, winter, spring quarters. We work on a cohort system, meaning we have one price for full-time status. Depending that you can have up to 16, 20 hours, and you're going to get the same amount as you did if you're going to charge the same amount if you have 12 hours. If you want to drop below full-time status, you have to get departmental approval for part-time status change, departmental approval, and which is your academic advisor, and you have to get registrar approval in order to qualify for part-time status. At that point, you will get a part-time status rate instead of the full-time status, but that means you have to go below full-time status as far as units are concerned. Again, with you, we're still getting some U-ship confusion. The ship waiver, once you've applied for the waiver, it goes through a third-party vetting system. You will then get an approved letter from them. Once you get that approved letter, they send a file because they do it for all the UCs in California. They just send a file out to UCSD. That file is then processed into the waiver program. That can take 10 business days or so. All right, we're down to about our last couple of minutes. yeah, I think he's expanding upon his question about the withdrawal. It's connected to the first one, asking about dropping out of one of the 4 classes. If it takes you below full-time status, it would have to take you below, it would take 10 units or below. It dropping 1 class out of 4 won't do that. What 4 classes is 16. If you drop 1 class, you're still going to be at 12, which is still full-time status, and will not have a reduction in fees associated with it. And again, if you wanted to go below full-time status, you would have to get academic advisor approval and registrar approval in order to do that. If you are still with us, and we didn't answer any questions you have, please reach out to us at our support portal. The student services team is there to help you out and answer any questions you may have. Again, that is support.ucsd.edu/students. We typically answer, this time of year is our busiest time of year, but we get through questions within 24, 48 hours. If it's very busy, maybe 72, but we usually get them at the very latest within 3 days. And with that, I'm going to close this down for the evening. We thank you all for spending time with us tonight, and hope you have a great day. Stay cool. I know it's been hot out there, and we appreciate your attention and patience.